It's always, we started this show talking around, you have to hit the reset button. It's always, trying to hit your goals and making it a successful year. And so I think we tied together a lot. One, I believe my bias is that there's a huge amount of content on the shows that we've had. So for the people listening, go back to season 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's a ton of stuff in there that you could grab and use tomorrow when you're on the phone or you're making a sales call. So you asked me who would the favorite. No, was there a
What's
highlight?
The highlight?
I don't know. I think the highlight was.
Welcome to the Sales Problem Podcast, where we talk everything sales, success, and personal growth. Thanks for joining us. Let's get growing.
Welcome back to the Sales Problem Podcast. This is season 4, episode 10, the season finale. And here's what we're going to give you today. If you've ever felt like you struggle with the idea of being too pushy, too salesy, too high pressure, well, stay tuned because we have Liz Wendling on the show, and she is going to help you get your approach dialed in so that you can crush your 2026 sales targets. I'm your host, Daniel Burns, and joining me is my co-host, a man who has never met a pipeline that he didn't want to grow, the smooth, the suave, the always dialed in Steve Comerford. Steve, can you believe it's the season finale?
I can't believe it. And
I got to start off with this question. I'm curious, Steve.
All right.
Season 4, what is the highlight? What stood out to you in season 4?
Today is the highlight, Dan. This is the highlight.
Perfect. I like
wrapping up the year. We're starting the show off with Liz. Come on, this has got to be good. But I will say, all right, so I'll answer your question. So yes, 2025 has been fun, interesting roller coaster of a lot of things. But I went through the list of people that we chatted with over this year. It is quite an accomplished list of people. We had Larry Levine talking about selling from the heart. There's a theme here with a lot of the people we talked to this year. Yeah. Alice Hyman would skyrocket your value, right? Making it easier to buy from you. We had Roger Caesar, find your greatness. And funny part about Roger is that we ended up seeing him at the speaker slam in Toronto. So that was kind of fun. And then we had Martin L'Esperance. That's my French, Liz, working on the French. But Martin was talking about the momentum blueprint, and he was back for a second go around with Martin. He's a lot of fun. And then we had the partners there, Scott Donald and Rick Denley. They were talking about greatness, great humans sell more and reinvent your sales. Yep. So again, the theme of selling from the heart, being authentic, reinventing, being great humans. And then we had your favorite, Dan. We had Joe Peachy, selling naked on the phone. I have not done that yet. Don't plan on doing that, especially
that either.
Especially in a large room. And then we had Dean Lindsay, crush your big fat goals. We talked about 2026, wrapping up 2025. It's always, we started this show talking around, you have to hit the reset button. It's always, trying to hit your goals and making it a successful year. And so I think we tied together a lot. One, I believe my bias is that there's a huge amount of content on the shows that we've had. So for the people listening, go back to season 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's a ton of stuff in there that you could grab and use tomorrow when you're on the phone or you're making a sales call. So you asked me who would the favorite. No, was there a highlight?
What's the highlight?
I don't know. I think the highlight was the connection of all of the people that we talked to. I think it was around authenticity and being genuine and looking to add value and why people should buy from you. I think that was a common theme. So I won't pick one. I'm going to be nice to everybody. And we still have to talk to Liz. She's going to just knock it out of the park. So there. How about you? I ran through the list. What do you think?
I know. I heard you do that list, and I'm like, that's a murderer's row of speakers for sales insights. And that's what I love about this podcast, Steve. This is why we do this, is because each speaker really does bring a unique insight. I think there's that golden nugget that we talk about that's trapped inside each person that comes on this podcast. And we get to share that with our listeners, and they get to take that away from the time that they invest in the show. So I think really I'm with you. So many great speakers, and it just keeps getting better. And I think we saved the best for last year.
And there are all sorts of good nuggets, right? Nobody has the special recipe. It's a bit of combination of a lot of different ideas and things that you can use, and then make it yourself, make it yours, right? So that's what I like too. And you know what? I get to hang out with you, Dan, have some fun, and reconnect.
There's the love.
Group hug.
Well, I just want to remind our listeners, Steve, our podcast partners, crank it up. I've got a little bit of the Neal Brothers in my cup. I see you're drinking it too, Steve. And on my way to work today, I stopped by and grabbed a Mama T's protein cookie, our other podcast partner, 21 grams of protein, Steve. So today, crushing the caffeine, lots of good, healthy carbs. So for any listeners, if you want either of those products, just go and click the show notes. We couldn't make it any easier. Click that link. Go and put in the sales problem 15. You're going to get 15% off. Both those products are going to get shipped direct to your door. Super simple, super easy. So if you're out there on the road, fuel up and make it great. Steve, that is the business. Are you ready to go here?
Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to the focus of today's episode. Liz Wendling. Let me tell you about her. She's the founder of the Sales Clinic and Purpose-Powered Selling, and the author of The Heart of Authentic Selling and Sell Without Selling Your Soul. I just love that title. Liz is driven by the mantra, it's not what you sell, it's how you sell that matters. Liz understands the challenges professionals face when selling in today's competitive and crowded environment. She shows professionals how to make a profound difference in their sales approach, language, and process. Her proven strategies help professionals break free from outdated, ineffective tactics and replace them with modern, client-focused techniques that really drive results. With Liz, professionals learn how to sell with integrity, influence, and impact. Liz, welcome to the show. Are you ready to help us solve the sales problem?
I'm here to help you solve all of the sales problems. Let's tackle them all.
Let's go, Steve. She's going to solve all of our problems. This is going to be a long episode, isn't it?
And she said she's from the Bronx. So you could never tell in that, like, let's just go attitude, eh?
So, Liz, we always kick it off with the sales problem question, which is the reason why Steve and I started this podcast is, our sales problem we faced every year was how do you keep growing year over year? How do you keep getting better? But we're always interested as we bring guests on to know, what do you think is the biggest sales problem that's facing teams today?
It's going to be the problem that we'll be facing for a while, and that's AI. AI is great. Ooh. It really is. And everyone is using it, to move faster. But it's the type of faster that doesn't mean better. They're doing a lot, but it doesn't mean it's better. And I see a lot of people racing full speed in the wrong direction, doing things that really don't matter or move the needle. Looks like they're doing a lot of good work, but it's not doing anything to move the needle. I see people cranking out prospecting messages like crazy. They're sending emails, DMs, follow-up messages, but it's when I look at them and I'm looking at my clients' messages that they're sending out, it's all the same recycled nonsense we've been seeing for years, if not decades. So AI is just churning out faster, more horrible messages. AI will still tell people to start an email with, I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a good weekend. And I hope this email finds you well. All that nonsense in the beginning of an email. And they're using just following up, just touching base, just reaching out. I'd love to get on your calendar. I'd love to find out more about what you're doing. So that's all the stuff we did 20 years ago. Why is AI telling people now doesn't get the same traction or attention anymore? So AI didn't invent better conversations. It's just automating crappy ones. And people are not standing out. They're blending in. And to me, that is a huge problem in the sales world because more crap is not going to get you more sales.
I love that you brought up AI. And so AI versus human. Am I hearing you right that you still think that the human has some advantage?
I do. I really do. Because what you say, and earlier you said it's not what you sell, it's how you sell. I absolutely believe that. I don't care what you sell because millions of other people are selling what you sell. It's how you sell. It's what you say, how you create a language that fits you and aligns with who you are so that you sound different to the person that you're talking to because it's from your heart and it aligns with who you are, not what AI tells you to say.
I love that. And every buyer is so different that being able to really adjust, I think AI will have a difficult time with that, especially when you're reading people's emotions and getting into their business and understanding the situations. That's a great insight.
And also, how can anybody differentiate you right away if you're starting your email the same way as 4 billion other people on the planet with, I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope this email finds you well. Seriously? No, you don't. AI told you to say that. You don't really hope I had a great weekend. I'm pretty sure of that.
Steve, already I'm going and deleting some emails, I think, that I've sent out this week. So.
Yeah, you never ask how I'm doing, Dan. I will admit, I have to admit an error on my part. So I had a nice meeting. I did a follow-up message and chunked it into ChatGPT.
What did it say?
Tisk. Oh, Stevie, a bad idea. Anyway, the reply back, it's good that I know the person quite well. Yeah. And he replied, he said, I really didn't have time to throw my reply into ChatGPT, so here's my response. So he called me out on it, and I was like, that's the last time I do that one. And it was nice. It was so flowery. It was all sorts of nice big words that I don't know how to spell. And then I was like, oh, that was a bad idea, Steve. Anyway, I'm curious though, Liz, and you talk about it in the books that you wrote and your messaging, the training that you do about the 90s, like getting out of the 90s and the pushy salesperson and really trying to be authentic and sell from the heart. I'm curious though, why do these guys or people, why do these people succeed still in being a pushy salesperson? Like, and how do you really get away from that? Because I still see them today, and they're pushy. And then I have a follow up to this, but go ahead and help me with that thing of the 90s.
There's always going to be people who do the opposite of what you should do. There's crappy doctors out there and auto mechanics and all that. There's always going to be someone who does it wrong or does it in a way that's aggressive. I don't even like talking about those people because they will never change. But what I find even more disturbing is people who say, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to be aggressive. And I say, great, nobody wants that. But you can't declare what you don't want if you don't declare what you do want. So I see people saying, I don't want to be too pushy. So the idea of being too pushy, too salesy has become a very convenient label, and a lot of times a giant excuse for people to give themselves permission to not sell, to actually only dip their toe in the water, to sell in a way that it looks like they're doing something, but they're not fully invested in the conversation because they're so afraid of being pushy, but they don't declare what they want to be, which is confidence. They want to have clarity. They want to help a prospect. So it's really easy to say, I don't want to be fat. It's much harder to say, I'm going to the gym and I'm going to start exercising. You could declare what you don't want all day long, but you can't hide behind it. You can't say, I don't want to be one of those people. Well, then who do you want to be? And it's time to step up and be that, because it's so much safer to criticize aggressive salespeople or people who are too pushy than it is to confront your own discomfort with being direct, with being strong, with saying what's on my mind, what's calling out the elephant in the room, which is having conversations with people where sometimes you do have to push some buttons and ask tough questions. So people have to get comfortable. That's a good sales conversation when you're talking to someone to be comfortable in that. So they have to confront why they don't want to be that. And it has nothing to do with being pushy or salesy, because real selling isn't about being passive or aggressive. It's finding that real middle ground for yourself that feels just right. It's comfortable for you. And the best professionals aren't pushy. They're comfortable asking uncomfortable questions, knowing when to stop talking, and knowing how to have a great sales conversation that creates insight, intrigue, and impact.
Do you find, and so on the flip side of that, then you're saying being too nice is just as bad as being too aggressive.
Exactly. So nobody wants a nice salesperson, right? That's just boring. That's not, I don't want to buy from someone who agrees with me, who bends over backwards, who'll do what I need. I want a conversation with an equal. And being too nice often comes across as phony. So people think they're being nice, but the other person is feeling a phoniness to that.
Then I'll spin this question for you because it's been in my mind lately, and that is around an aggressive buyer. So talk about a lot about the confident salesperson, but running into a not nice buyer. They're aggressive. They are cutting you down on whatever you're trying to sell or trying to drive your price down. So I'm curious on that other side of things. How do you combat that buyer that is not nice?
Yeah, that's a tough one. It takes some thick Bronx and Jersey girl. I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah.
Grew up in the Bronx, lived in New Jersey. Now I'm from Colorado. But boy, that my inner Jersey girl wants to go head to head with somebody like that. So it's having the confidence to be able to back that person down and just say, hey, let's start all over, or this isn't working for me. This conversation doesn't feel good. So can we start over? Or that's not how I operate. And it's being able to push that person just enough for them to realize, oh my God, I'm being an ass.
Oh, I like that. Thank you. Because oftentimes you hear and you get a lot of new salespeople that are trying to break into a sales organization, trying to make a success, and I got to buy every deal. I got to get that deal. I got to win this deal, and they deal with anybody and everybody, and they give things away. And it's like, I love your point around this isn't working for me. I need to step back a bit. I think that's
I've had someone
nice
actually
nugget.
say to me, yeah, thank you. And I've had that person, and I said to him, are you always this mean to everyone you talk to? And I said it kind of in a joking way. And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. My wife tells me the same thing. He's like, all right, I got to calm down. Let me center myself. But so I met him with a little bit of humor, but I also kind of called him out for being a jerk.
Yeah.
And that's years of experience. 30 years ago, I probably wouldn't have said something like that. But over the years, your skin gets a little thicker and you're willing to call somebody out on that.
Yeah. So one more question, Dan, and then I'll pass you just on this little thread of individuals and people. So then the other person in the mix here with that salesperson is the sales manager and the leaders. Mm-hmm. Is it the same? Is it the same kind of demeanor and same type of confidence that you need with a pushy manager or a micromanager or a, somebody that's always kind of hammering down on hitting your quota or hitting your number for the month or the quarter or the year? Like, where's your thought on that one?
Oh gosh, I do see that a lot. I shouldn't say I see it. I hear it a lot. I'll have sales teams and someone will say, you know what? I can't say this out loud, or I can't say this to anybody else. So I don't actually see it, but they're reporting back to me that I do some work with law firms and salespeople as well. So they'll say to me, my boss is all about chasing activity and pushing scripts and using scripts and relying on tried and true approaches that worked 3 decades ago. So they're pushing to do the same thing because it worked 20, 30 years ago, but it doesn't work today because the buyer is different. The buyer hasn't stayed the same. So trying to drive performance with a playbook from 30 years ago pisses people off. It may keep your team busy, but they're not going to be effective. So it's stopping the chasing of the stuff that used to work and stopping long enough to figure out, all right, we got to write a new playbook.
Steve, I love this conversation already. I think season 4 is delivering. Liz, you have already dropped some insights. I've just been making notes here furiously. I love that middle ground between pushy and passive. And as you were talking, I was thinking of, people that I've sold with that really are on both sides of the extreme. Yeah. You've got the salesperson that's so nice. Everybody's, their best friend, great, wonderful relationships, but no sales, to be found anywhere. Right. And then the opposite extreme of people who are just so rough around the edges that, clients are saying, just don't send them back to the office. Right. Like they're not allowed back here. And the best salespeople walk that line so well between pushy and passive. So I love that.
That sweet spot in the middle. It's like Goldilocks.
Just right. So I want to ask you a question that I always love to ask Liz, because I think curiosity is a superpower. And I think sometimes for salespeople, questions can unlock so many things when it comes to selling that's valuable, that's within that sales process. So is there a question that is your go-to or part of a training, something maybe you learned that, unlocked, some new things in the selling process for you?
That's a very insightful question. I don't have any go-to questions. In the past, I probably did when I first started, because I had a checklist and I followed a script. And if they said A, I said B. Now and this is what I teach my clients, when you're in the moment, in a conversation, when you're talking to someone without the pressure of I have to do something, I have to be something, I have to act a certain way, I have to say a certain thing. When you're in that moment and it's so fluid and so perfect, the right questions seem to bubble up without having to check my list. Did I ask that question? Did I ask that question? Or asking a question at the wrong time just because you're supposed to ask that question. So it's more, to me now, after 30 plus years of selling, is to be in the moment with someone, so much so that they go, wow, no one's ever listened to me like this. Or, oh my God, you asked such good questions. So that's a non-answer to your question, but it's really more if people can be in the moment with someone and let the question just naturally bubble up. And of course, know where you want to go with someone, but having a go-to question, I think, could set people up for failure.
Okay. So a little more intuitive, you would
Yes.
say, just kind of be in the moment,
Yep.
actively listening, picking up on cues, and then just naturally going where the
Exactly.
conversation tends to lead.
And
Okay.
maybe my go-to thing might be, gosh, that sounds important. Keep going on that one, or keep talking. And
Yeah.
I'll be writing something so that I give them the cue that I like it when somebody overshares. I really do. It helps me. So the more, instead of me peppering them with questions, I try to go another layer deeper. Oh, wow. Say more about that. That's a unique way to look at it. Can you tell me more or explain that a little bit better? And then I get all that I need out of something like that. I really get a clear picture of what the issue is.
I love that. Sometimes those simple little questions like, oh, okay, well, what else? And just letting them expand and tell you as much as possible is all you need. So, Liz, I want to talk to you about modern selling because I love that term, but I'm interested to get your opinion on what that means to you. And what do you think needs updating the most? What needs to become more modern in our world of selling?
I just love this question because to me, modern selling. This is
I asked a good question.
That's a good question. To me, modern selling is many. It could be many things. You could ask a dozen people, and they'll give you 27 different answers. But to me, it's about changing your words so you can change your results. It's about changing the way you say things so that you elicit a different response. If people keep churning out the same tired lines, like just following up, just touching base, can I get 15 minutes of your time? Can I show you how we're helping others like you? I'd love to get on your calendar. I mean, come on, really? Are you still saying that 30 years later? You can't talk like that and expect a modern buyer to see you as different and seasoned and smarter and different than everyone else. So I would say that is the thing that needs to be updated the most, is what people are saying, the language people are using. Because if you're saying it out loud, and you're writing it in messages and you're not getting a response, then that's right there telling you that's your evidence that something isn't landing, something isn't right. And I tell my clients, if you can't get someone's attention with your messages, you're never going to get their business. So you have to get their attention before you get their business. And you're never going to get it if you say, I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you are doing well. If you don't know someone and you're dropping lines like that, it comes across as cheesy and BS and generic. Because I know you did not sit down and write me your first message and hope that I am doing well. I know that. It's just a generic line that gets thrown out because people are afraid to start a message and get right down to business. Now, I'm not saying to be rude. I'm just saying leave out the BS that doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't move you forward at all. It's neutral negative, not neutral positive. So you think saying, I hope you had a great weekend, if you don't know someone, is nice, and then you go right into business. I'd rather someone go right into the reason why I'm contacting you is, versus I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you're doing well. Hope this message finds you well. So that kind of junk, people can omit that and write a message that gets someone's attention right away, the chances skyrocket that you'll get a response. Not someone who says, typical salesperson, they sound like everybody else. This sounds like the same 27 messages sitting in my inbox right now.
Oh, this one lands with me. I mean, this one really hits hard. I'm just going to say it again for our listeners. Change your words, change your results. When you said that, what triggered in me, I remember, making cold calls and going through a door and opening my mouth and having them go, get out. And I'm like, okay, that didn't work. Then I would go back. What did I say? I said this. Okay. Do not say that again. What am I going to say different than next door? And then you change your words and somebody goes, oh, and they lean in And I'm interested. And you're like, what did I say there? I said something right. And I want to keep repeating the
Yes.
right words, not the ones that get the response where people are like, door is over there.
Yes. Delete, right?
Yeah.
And people are reading emails now with their finger on the trigger of the delete button. They can't wait to delete a message out of their inbox. And if yours sounds like everyone else, guess where you're going? So I watch teams work so hard. They create all these emails and they're prospecting and they're working hard, but they sound like crap because they sound like everyone else. So it's getting in there and tossing out the stuff that doesn't work anymore and leveling up and making your message sound like you wrote to someone, not at someone. There's a difference when you write a message to someone versus at someone. So to someone feels genuine, feels like you sat down, had me in mind, or somebody like me in mind and wrote it to me, not at me, because you're sending the same copy paste message to everyone else. That's an at me message, not a to me message.
Love it.
Well, I'm going to go on, Dan. Dan, how you doing?
I
hope you're well.
Amazing. I'm blown away. Thanks for asking, Steve.
Hey,
you just differentiated yourself.
I still remember a call that you and I made, and we walked in the door and we did a little dance routine. It was either dance or we told the people at the front that we were gonna sing a song or something. Anyway, they chuckled, they laughed, and we got the meeting. But anyway, that was just unique to you and me. But I'm curious on the modern leader or modern manager. So Dan talked about modern selling. It's like, Liz, being a manager today or being a sales leader today, is there something different there that they need to toss away from old school sales boards and numbers, or if that's the case, or is there something they should start doing better or differently? What have you seen with the people that you talk to?
Again, it's that if I hear one more time my leader telling me this, or if I hear the same generic BS one more time, I'm going to jump out the window. So a lot of times they have to stop tossing out the cliches, like just try harder. Monday's a new day. You go for it. You need to make more calls, close more deals, just figure it out. Yeah, that's not going to move the needle. Those phrases are vague. Sometimes they're demotivating and they don't give anyone a path forward. They don't help people go, okay, that's clear. That's clear feedback. Let me get to it. So I teach them to create a path so someone can see the path. Just don't say be something. Help them get to that place. So help someone create that path forward instead of and give feedback that is clear, it's actionable, and it's tied to real results. So it would be more around specific actions. Could be something as, let's take a look at your prospecting messages, or let's take a look at your last 21 prospecting messages. And this is what I do before I start working with a team or a law firm, is I'll look at what they're sending out because it gives me an idea, a real baseline of what they're saying and what's not working. So I can extrapolate some of that stuff and say, well, no wonder why. Look at how you're starting all your messages. Look how you're ending it. Look forward to hearing from you. It just doesn't work anymore. So it's finding different ways to be clear, actionable, and tie it to results. Because then you can say, oh, I changed this. I changed the beginning and I changed the end of my voicemail or an email. And they responded right back to me. That's tied to real results. And then just like you said earlier, you walk in and you realize, oh, I just got kicked out for saying that. You never have to say that again. So it's things like that where generic advice or generic rah-rahs just don't cut it anymore. People are tired of hearing that stuff.
So it's more of they need to roll up their sleeves. They need to sit beside that salesperson or account manager and really get in their shoes and figure out what they're doing every day, and just understanding it a bit better to kind of give them a little different of a nuance of approaching their sales a little bit differently, better. Yeah.
And would they answer an email that they sent? Look
That's
at
good.
this email. Would you answer this email? Does it say anything in there that makes me go, this person knows what he's talking about. I think I will give him 15 minutes. Or you know what? I may schedule a call with this person. But if there's something, if it's just words on a page or through a voicemail, there's nothing compelling someone to take that next move. And it gets really rough to show up every day when you're doing the work, but the work isn't refined, and then you don't get the results. So it's refining. It's not about destroying everything you have and starting all over. It's refining the stuff that doesn't work anymore and replacing it with stuff that feels more modern, that feels a little more uplifting and intriguing. Again, if you can't get their attention, you're not getting their business.
Yeah. So this question goes to the time of the year. So it's the end of the year. There's that got to hit my numbers and goals. So we're in sales. We got to hit the numbers that we set up for the year. Is there one piece of advice that you'd give that salesperson or account manager, business development manager to say, like, do these things in the next few days to see how you can turn that result? What do you say to that time of the year without being too pushy? Right? You can't come across, well, that deal's going to end in 2 weeks, so you got to make a decision. I don't think that's going to work. So is there something there that you've seen?
Well, I would say not just at the end of the year, every freaking day is check this. I do this all the time with my teams, is check and count how many times you use the word I. I'd love to set up a quick chat with you. I wanted to see if this might be a fit. I'd like to walk you through this. I want to show you how this can help. I'd like to connect. I'd like to get on your calendar. Okay, you want to be self-serving? Keep using the word I. So the quickest way to avoid that, stop showing up so self-serving and shift the language. It's not about what you would love to do to someone. Invite them into a conversation. Don't tell them what you would love to do. That. Of course you'd love to talk to me. You want to sell me something. That's what they're thinking. So people will count their I statements and go, oh my gosh, that is 2 paragraphs and 11 I's. That's a little bit too much. So that should prompt a rewrite. That should prompt a huge rewrite of a message if everything is about what you would love and what you want to do. I want to do this. I'd like to get on your calendar. I have a great product. I'm sure you do. Have a nice day.
Yeah. Love it. Dan, bam. Write that one down. Did you write that one down? That was good. I love that piece.
I've got so many notes on insights here, Steve. I'm running out of paper.
Yeah. I saw, LinkedIn, you see some videos and everything else. And I found this one piece. It was a video and they were trying to promote a product line or promote themselves. And it was all me sort of. That's like, that's just not, I don't think that's going to land too much. So I think a little self-reflection on the I versus you. It's not about me. It's about you. Yeah.
It's a challenge. It's very challenging for people. And a lot of times what people will do is when they hear that, they'll just leave the I out and they'll say, want to schedule a time to meet with you. Want to see if this fits your business. It's still all about you. It doesn't even roll off the tongue. Want to see. And so they think just taking the word I is going to change the way it lands. And it doesn't. It's a whole rewrite. And once someone does a rewrite of a sentence and gets the impact of that, and when it lands on someone differently, and they go, oh my gosh, that person got right back to me. That's when you know that you're shifting something inside yourself, and the way that you're showing up can only do wonders for your bottom line. That's why I always say, change your language and watch what happens to your bottom line.
Love it.
And then you'll never go back to doing it again because you realize, oh my God, no wonder why nobody gets back to me. I'm so self-serving and it shows. So if you're conveying I'm a self-serving salesperson, then they expect you to show up that way on a sales call and that they already have they have the paintbrush ready to paint you as that self-serving salesperson. So don't show up that way, and they won't expect you to be that way.
Well, I think
Such
you
a great
mentioned
insight.
I think you mentioned something earlier too about listening. So if you are,
Yes.
I would think that if you are listening, then you would show up very, empathetic and understanding of where your client is and have a better conversation. If you miss that whole listening part and just come back at it with, here's what I'd like to do.
Yes.
Yeah. Door slam. Bye-bye.
Totally.
So yeah, listening gets overlooked.
Yes, it is. And if you, I think it's, I don't see it in front of me, but is listening has the same words as silent. And so if people think about listening as an opportunity to be silent, to shut up and use your ears. Listen and be silent and shut up. Nice sales.
I love it, Liz. I'm super curious. I'd love to get your opinion on this because it kind of popped up in my head as we were chatting. I'd love to, what's your opinion on using video messaging? Like, is that something that you would say is maybe a more modern technique? Is to do a video and send that to somebody? I got one when I brought my vehicle in, and they sent me this video and it walked me all around my vehicle. And I was like, oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
And I thought, is that something I should be doing? Because that helped me understand what was happening with my vehicle. Mm-hmm. I thought, I wonder if that is a missing messaging, because I could see everything and I knew what was happening and they kept me in the loop, and the visual versus just words on a page. Are you big on that type of communication? Or
I don't send videos, and the clients that I work with don't use videos. I think if used properly, in the right place, at the right time, a short video can do wonders. But video prospecting, hell no. And I say that because you and I don't know, we haven't had a conversation. We don't know each other that way. After a great conversation, or maybe we do a Zoom call or have a phone call, then I can send you a message because now we've already met.
Yeah.
If you do it too early, it comes across as, I think, trying too hard, and it just doesn't land well. And I just don't think a lot of people want to click on links as much as they used to. If I have to click on a link and maybe be driven or taken off of my email or another platform, I worry about that I could be infecting my computer. I think people are a lot more cautious these days. But using it after you know someone, or, hey, you know what? We had a great conversation today. Let me do a quick video and I'll show you exactly what I mean in this particular, what we talked about, or in this particular area. Then it really lands well that you took the time to actually turn on your camera and make it about them, not just a generic prospecting message.
That was my concern too, is having somebody click on a link. And these days, are you really feeling safe if you're clicking on something and you don't, like you say, have that relationship yet?
Yeah. Even PDFs in a prospecting message. I've attached my whole slide deck. Well, I'm not clicking on your slide deck. I know you. I'm not even clicking on your white paper or PDF until I know you, like you, trust you, and you're relevant to me.
Yeah. So Liz, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about your book, The Heart of Authentic Selling. What's a highlight that for those listeners that are going to go out and grab the book, what's a takeaway that they're going to get once they crack the pages?
It's a lot of what we're talking about today, is that even though AI is here to stay, people still buy from humans, not scripts, not through an AI. They want the human connection. If they're going to give someone money, they want to talk to a human being most of the time. So the human piece will always be there. And if people really do want to change their language and change their results, that book is perfect for them, because there's plenty of examples in there. There's a way to sound like a human, not a script. Mm-hmm. And it's a way that you get to start selling in a way that reflects who you are, that aligns with the way that you talk. It's based on your personality, your business, and your style. You get to align to that versus copying someone else's script or downloading something on the internet that says, I use this simple script and I made $6 million in 6 minutes. You should use it too. And people fall for that stuff because they want someone to tell them what to say versus them really honoring who they are and saying in a way that honors them. And it's so easy to go out to the internet and say, write me a script on this. It doesn't sound like you. It doesn't convey who you are. So it goes back to how can I still be human and still do my job while using AI as well? Although my book doesn't even mention AI because it wasn't even available then. But all of that still holds true. If you want to change what's coming out of your mouth, we're always going to be prospecting. We're always going to be sending messages, leaving voicemails, and having sales conversations. How do you do it so that you look like a human, not an AI script?
Oh, I love that. And I love your passion around this, Liz. And what came up for me, I was recently talking to a client about making sales calls and the fact that it's human to have that call reluctance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, getting on the phone with another human and having to interact and having to sell your product, sell yourself, create rapport, all of this, it's difficult. But I think one of the big benefits we get out of it is how well you get to know your business, your product, you know, the way that you can help people. Going through getting knocked around and having all these objections and all these things that people tell you about their concerns, it's really so valuable for us to get all that feedback and learn all that about our company, our product, the things that we're trying to provide. It makes us so much better to be able to bring those solutions, help the right people when you go through hundreds of calls with people and all the different scenarios they throw at you. I think that's the beauty of sales.
And everyone does it differently, and that's okay. That's actually good. There's flavors of everything. But if you keep thinking that what did work in the past is going to work today, you're setting yourself up. 2026 is going to be a bear for people if they're dragging all the crap from 1998 is still here in 2025. If you decide to bring it into 2026, you're screwed. There you go.
Nice. So one last question about the book. I'm just always curious when we have authors on the podcast, just to know what compelled you to write the book. I'm always curious to go back to when you said, oh, this is an idea I have to write a book on, because I know how much time it takes, how much you have to invest of yourself into writing a book. What got you kind of fired up to say, I'm going to go through this process and share it with the world?
Well, I had been writing a weekly article in Colorado Business Magazine on sales, and I had hundreds of articles. And I went into my Word documents and I started seeing this theme. And I thought, I wonder what would a book look like? And it was just an idea, a thought that popped into my head. And I started writing out all the themes. I had like 15 or 16 themes, and I turned it into a book. And I actually wrote it with every single word with my own fingers. There was no AI. So I sat down and typed every single word. But it was all a lot of the stuff that I had written for the magazine that resonated with the readers. And I just turned it into chapters with examples, how to integrate it and how to use it. And it's part of what I use now to even teach my clients. So that inspired me. I liked the writing of a short article, that an article can turn into a chapter, and then a chapter can turn into a course, and so on and so on. And that's how the sales clinic came about, because I realized so many people need to check in and get the help they need and get not just a pill or a potion or a lotion, the real remedy, the remedy that moves the needle.
Love it. Steve, what's kicking around in your mind? I know you've got some final thoughts as we kind of reach the end here.
Well, I told you that Liz would be the best for the year, right? We just capped it off with a very successful conversation. Do you know why? Because the through line through the year, and it's interesting how this is all put together, Dan, because as we bring these people on to interview, there's never really a theme, but there is a good theme this year in terms of being authentic and being your true self, being a good person, being a good human, building value. All that ties together well with what Liz is talking about, and not being an AI bot, right? You can't go down that road. I love the part about being passionate and about being confident. I think the confidence piece is a huge one. We probably could talk about that just on its own, in that kind of being a young salesperson, it's always, you're a little nervous, maybe overconfident, and then you kind of wane through the years of sales and the ups and downs, and confidence kind of comes and goes. And I think that I love that piece of the day. I think that ties nicely into all the other conversations that we've had. So, and Liz, are you a Yankees fan? Being from the Bronx? Oh,
so I was born in the Bronx, and I'm
I had to.
Jersey, 30 years.
Well, I love the Yankees. My dad's a big Yankees fan, and I've seen a couple of games at Yankee Stadium. So I see where you get your passion and your confidence of putting this together. And congratulations on your books and the work that you do. It really hits the mark. So thanks. I really enjoyed the conversation today. That's what I had, Dan.
Close out the year. Thank you.
Yeah,
nice,
perfect.
Can you tell our listeners where they can find out more about you and everything that you offer?
They can go to my website, which is my name. They can go to Amazon, anywhere you type in Liz Wendling. On LinkedIn, it's not a super common name, but LinkedIn, Amazon, YouTube videos, and my website.
Love it. Steve, before we wrap up here, I have to go back and share some of the golden nuggets that we dug up today with Liz, because I've been writing notes here, and I just gotta go back and give a shout out to some of these insights. You can't declare what you don't want if you don't declare what you do want. I love that.
Yay.
Change your words, change your results. Salespeople, find the middle ground between pushy and passive. Write to someone, not at someone. Oh, Liz, so many great points.
Oh, yay.
You're such a good listener, Dan.
What an awesome way to close out season 4.
Yes. Perfect.
Liz, thank you so much. You helped us solve the sales problem today. You gave our listeners some new knowledge they need to thrive and succeed. You help them grow by enhancing what they know. Listeners, we love you. We appreciate you. So if you've learned something today, take this episode. Please share it. We're in 45 countries around the world now. If you haven't hit follow, you haven't hit subscribe or something like that to show us just a little bit of love, I'm telling you, Steve and I love you. This is 40 episodes now.
Yay.
We're going to see you on the next episode. But until then, just keep creating the best version of you.